Why not just play Factory if you're gonna play Satisfactory? That's dumb. Because by that logic, why not go play Dwarf Fortress instead of RimWorld? Why not go play SimCity instead of City Skylines? Like, they're not... Like, the way you make that sound right from the get-go is very much just like, Satisfactory is a bad game, go play Factorio instead. Yeah, Pokemon Red instead of Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. I actually rather like Satisfactory. I think it's a fantastic game. And the idea of just being like, nah. Just because it's something? I don't even, I honestly don't even know what, like, valid complaint against this game would be, apart from, I guess, the platform it's on. And even then, like, that's a silly thing to say. I guess to me, of all people. Okay, so I'm just gonna get these down. I'm probably not gonna hook them all up. But I'm gonna hook some of it together. Let's see. Or it's C. Bitch. Okay, this ain't working. Probably because I didn't line all of these up. Did I? No, it's all lined up. Alright. But yeah, I find this game to actually be considerably prettier and nicer to look at. I get the distinct feeling these are not lined up, even though I tried. But like, both of the games are fun in their own right, and by just saying like, nope, only worth playing one version, I feel like you really do lose out on a lot with that kind of opinion, because at that point, like, why innovate or even like iterate ever? But no, from like a gameplay perspective, I find both games to be quite enjoyable and engaging. I think the problem I run into with Factorio is that it is ugly as sin. Oh, can't afford. Oh, that's a minor. Like, it's got its own beauty, but comparatively, not a nice-looking game. Satisfactory is gorgeous. And admittedly, you spend a lot of time just staring at the unholy butt crack of a bunch of different factories instead. Let's see. Okay, we're good. Oh, we don't have any power up here, do we? Ah, I should probably get that going. Let's see. Question is, can I just extend it vertically? No, encroaching on another's clearance. Yeah, I figured as much. Alright, what about you? You look like you're good. But no, like, truly, I would say both games are very, very worth playing separately and also together, kind of whenever, let's have it be here instead. Instead of saying, like, one is clearly better than the other, because there are different flavors of the same thing. And honestly, the more flavors that I have to, like, play around with, the better. I don't really like restricting myself to, like, one medium or anything like that. I find it, like, it's, would I say uncomfortable? Maybe not uncomfortable, but, like, I can't play one game forever. It just doesn't work. It's not very fun. And there's just too many, like, cool things that every different game has. So, like, recently, I guess I had a bit of a, I'm not gonna say, like, a blowout, but I definitely had some, like, unkind words to say to a person because they were rather dismissive of, I mean, okay, unkind words, I feel like it's blowing it out of proportion. I was snippy at somebody because they were specifically decrying Curse of the Dead Gods, being like, why should I play this game instead of Diablo 3? And I'm like, this is nowhere even close to Diablo 3. Like, what are you doing? What are you even thinking? Okay. So, we've got these going. I'm assuming I'm going to run out of power. Actually, no, we're doing fine on power. Constructors. But we do need cables. They're downstairs. Let's see. Of course it's prettier, but I feel like Satisfactory is all fluff and no substance compared to Factorio. Now, I mean, sure, you can't exactly main bus, and yeah, it's somewhat of a shallower game, but, like, one's still very much in development, and one's been out for years. I need more inventory space, don't I? Like, it feels weird to me to dismiss a game just purely because, like, one is slightly lower on content. Because, again, I'm going to keep taking, fallacious pot shots at this point, but, like, by that logic, the only roguelike I should ever play is Binding of Isaac, because every other roguelike has considerably less content, for example. But, like, for a year of development, this is pretty dang good. Sure, it's not, like, as good as Factorio is, but, like, again, though, like, I can't just play Factorio forever. Factorio 1.0 isn't even out yet. I mean, that's a game that will never be 1.0, and even if it is 1.0, then, like, who cares? Like, they'll keep going. 1.0 is absolutely becoming a meaningless word nowadays. Let's see. I should probably double check this. I bet this is gonna take a couple. So we have iron to iron plates. We make 30 per minute. Outputs 20 per minute. If I'm doing iron ingots, it's outputting 30. Okay, so I can do 1-to-1 on these factories at the very least. But, like, RimWorld before 1.0 was insane for what it was, and it just went 1.1, and they're probably just going to keep updating RimWorld for, like, the next 5-10 years. Probably until they make RimWorld 2 or who knows what. And so it's like, I think it's nice to think of games like 1.0 as like the jumping in point, or like the point where it's done. But so many games keep saying to us, like, that's false. Like, it's not done. Played a game called Wolcen, Lords of Mayhem recently. Decent game. Came out 1.0. And it was nowhere close to done. It was actually, honestly, a bit of a travesty as far as I'm concerned. It was in a rough state, and I was actually kind of disappointed. I was like, oh man, I really liked this game based on the first 3 hours I played, and then the rest of it was just kind of like, oh, what were they thinking? Okay, so this needs one smelter can actually handle 2 iron rod factories. So why don't we? I don't want to. No, we should actually dismantle this. Over here. Iron rods will be handled out this direction. And so, like, I feel like just by saying, like, stuff is a, you know, it's 1.0, therefore it's better or done, it puts people in a position where their standards are skewed in a not good way. And it's a lot healthier from, like, a market standpoint to be like, okay, but what are the actual merits of this game? And so, yeah, I think by saying, sure, Satisfactory does have less content, that's fair, but it's also one of those where I would say Satisfactory is a considerably more accessible game compared to what most people are used to. Like, every time I try and bring people into playing Factorio, it is a learning experience. Oh, And it's not an easy one. Like, I spent most of Christmas Day teaching my brother and my father how to play Factorio. And I'm pretty sure if I gave them Satisfactory, okay, maybe my dad would have issues just because he's a bit of a dinosaur at this point, but oh, have we just run out of juice? Looks like we're out of fuel. Which sucks because that means I have to go wave my hands at things. Are you all out? Yeah. Well, I got a bit. Will it run? Okay, it'll run at least for now, and I gotta go wave my hand at some bushes. I think other valid-ish point that I would try and make is, like, it's also really worthwhile to have multiple varieties of the same thing, kind of for the same reason. Like, somebody that plays Factorio might bounce off of it and be like, I don't actually really like this game. You know, either the camera angle or just the sheer resource balancing issues that you have to do, or visually, or just like there's a bunch of different reasons why you might not necessarily be interested in, say, Factorio. But then, say you start playing Satisfactory or something. And what do you know? Satisfactory clicks. And suddenly you're a big fan of the genre and you're willing to go back and play it. What's a good example of that? I mean, I've had that happen a couple of times. I hate Minesweeper. I just do. It's not a very fun game on its own. But now that I've played Demon Crawl, I'm actually a bit of a fan of I'm actually a bit of a fan of the idea of, you know, playing some Minesweeper on my own. I'd still prefer to play Demon Crawl because it's just a much more interesting and enjoyable experience, but, like, I'm not going to just be like, Minesweeper, and, like, turn my nose up to it. Like, if I had no other option, then there's that. Let's see. Do plants come back in this game? Not actually sure. I'd certainly hope so, just because. Otherwise, I'd really like it if I could make, like, little hydroponic farms or something, because that would be really nice. Or Starbound was better. Me too. I liked the idea of Starbound, but compared to, like, Terraria, I'm just not super interested in it. That one, maybe that's a good example of kind of this argument. Different flavors and whatnot. Starbound and Terraria are very similar games. Some people prefer one to the other massively and will refuse to play the other one. Like, I'm much more of a Terraria guy than I will ever be a Starbound guy. I think a lot of it just has to do with how Starbound ended up going with, like, a weird linear story instead of, like, deeper content. But I think a lot of it just, yeah. So you don't care about the graphics of the game. You play for the meat of the game rather than its presentation. For me, the presentation matters a lot. I mean, one, people are a lot more willing to watch something that looks good. Like, it's rare to find somebody that will say, want to watch Tales of Maj'Eyal, but I have a lot of people that would love to watch Hades. But realistically, from, like, a fundamental level, Maj'Eyal is a deeper game. But, like, you can't just discount aesthetics from, like, in terms of, like, mass market appeal, because if that were the case, then MUDs would still be popular. And as far as I know, most people have not played a MUD in, like, 10, 12 years or ever at all. I remember I had a friend in middle school. Lovely guy, bit of a weirdo. Was bullied relentlessly, but his parents wouldn't let him play video games because video games were evil, but they would let him play MUDs. Text-based adventures, which, I mean, turned him into a bit of a trash goblin personality, because, like, some of the MUDs he played were online, and some of them were not great. What's that? What is a MUD? It's like a text-based adventure game, RPG, whatever. Somebody else can describe it for you better, because I've actually never played one. But this friend of mine did. He played them a lot. And so he picked up on a lot of, like, just weird personality traits as a result of the other people he was playing with. I don't think his parents ever caught on, because it wasn't a video game. It was just text on the internet. I don't know. But I don't know. It's not that it actually matters. I was just thinking of MUDs, and I'm like, I remember them being, like, some of them were silly. Like, silly details, and, like, you could make fortresses and have armies and all sorts of stuff. And I was just like, that sounds awesome! And then I started playing Baldur's Gate, and I'm like, I have no interest in anything else. Nowadays, I'd refuse to play Baldur's Gate if it, like, I'll play Baldur's Gate 3 gladly, but trying to go back to Baldur's Gate 1 a couple of years ago was not fun. That game did not age well. Hi. You're not the horned variety. Ow. I should probably heal up at some point. There we go. We still have the first Baldur's Gate game. It's an absolute fantastic game. The amount of lore and writing and just, like, different things that you can do in that game, adventure-wise, is insane. The main problem is just, like, you have to go through, like, it's like an hour in Candlekeep or something like that. Like, really, really getting to the meat of the game before you can start exploring around. And even then, like, once you get out of Candlekeep, then, like, half the places you go to just insta-murder you, and it's very slow. My brother and I try and play it every couple of years, and I just, like, check out really fast because the game's kind of boring. Say what you want about Divinity Original Sin, but there's a certain quality... The hell are you? Mercer Sphere, that's a new one. But there's a certain quality to Divinity Original Sin that really just chucks you into it. And, yeah, it can still be really slow and extremely long, but it felt more accessible, more than anything else. For Tyranny to Divinity. I preferred Tyranny's writing and world design, but Divinity Original Sin's combat was just so much more fun. Setting shit on fire and then casting a poison thing to explode it all, or vice versa, was just beautiful. Like, I've never seen another game do that sort of thing, and, like, I'm really hoping they carry that over to some degree into Baldur's Gate 3. Because, like, the idea of just setting an entire, like, fighting, an entire, like, battleground on fire, and, yeah, just making that work to your advantage is just amazing. Not exactly in the same vein, there's actually a CRPG coming out in a couple of days, being published by Daedalic. And, what? Weird bird? And it's gone. Okay. But they've got a new CRPG coming out. I think that's a little bit more action. Uh-oh. Okay, there we go. I was like, okay. I was like, please don't trap me in here. Oh, and again. Wow. Let's see. I'm totally blanking on the name. I'll play it on the 13th, so I guess 5 days from now. But, neat thing about the game is that it's built around the idea of save scumming. That you actually have time control powers, so, like, say you get hit in combat and you don't want it, you can actually roll back and avoid the hit. And it looks like it might actually be kind of hard as a result. But the idea of just, like, mechanically assisted save scumming is really cool. Because I'm a huge save scummer. If something goes wrong in a game and I can reload, I will. Okay, this should be enough. Oh, shit. Am I lost? Okay, I'm not lost. I know how to get back home, or I know the direction that home is, but I've not been paying attention to the direction I'm going, and that's probably bad. I guess all I have to do is just follow the direction that has the least amount of vegetation, and we'll be good. So it's like Katana Zero. Kind of, but not really. Oh, I guess I'll go grab this slug here. And then keep waving my hand at things. Okay. They made these slugs a lot easier to find. Slug! I feel bad. Slugs are really cute. And the idea of just, like, harvesting a slug actually makes me feel kind of bad. I used to have snails for pets. And the idea of doing anything to them makes me kind of sad. They can be pests. So, like, I can understand people actually removing them and stuff, but I had like 4 of them, and they were just so cute. Of course, being the trash goblin that I was, I would poke them in the eyes, because the eyes would recede, and I thought that was adorable. Now I realize that that was probably kind of abusive. I don't actually know if there's any negative effects to poking them in the eye stalk, but still, not the kind of thing you want to do. Just look like vegetation grows back. I honestly can't tell. I think I'm in a different spot than when I came in, but there's so much vegetation that I don't think it's a big deal. I just really wish I could, wait, doesn't the chainsaw, like, auto-grab a lot of this stuff? We should probably go make the chainsaw. Okay, let's go back to my factory. Let's see, what about poking eyes? If you've never had a slug or a snail, you can actually boop them in the eyes, and the eye stalk will recede back into their heads. It's, I'm sure it's a defensive thing. Yeah, saw collects in an area. Yeah, so we should go get that. That'll save me a lot of time, hopefully. Okay, and hopefully things have actually been running in my absence, so we have some resources to work with. I was hoping to get my iron production going before I went back and grabbed stuff, but still. Okay, what do you got? Nah. Okay. Now the unfortunate part is we don't have a factory to actually manage this stuff. Which means I'm going to have to maybe do it by hand? Ugh. I guess let's just make a stack of solid biofuel, then I'll go get the factory to do it by hand. Let's see, Wanda didn't like factory craft, right? That's... You mean fortress craft. Because the answer is, I actually rather like Fortress Craft. I thought it was really neat. My biggest issue with Fortress Craft was mainly, mainly just the fact that it looked like ass. Like, say what you want about qualities and depth of a game. Visuals do really matter from my perspective. And also, like, the better the visuals on a game oftentimes also means it's easier to, like, visually digest. Didn't get views. I didn't actually put it up. I just did, like, a one-off, and then it's just sitting on my hard drive currently because I'm lazy. Mainly because I was so lost that I'm not entirely sure if it was entertaining. But that's one of those games that is so complicated and so gritty looking and so, like, very obviously made by one person without, like, a full art team or something like that. Like, it's hard for me to say that I want to play a bunch of that because, like, I'm what? Maybe 5 hours into this Factorio run? That's not bad. And I've already got, like, a functioning multi-step factory with a bunch of things going. I spent 20% of that time playing Fortress Craft Evolved, and I barely even understand what I was doing. And so, maybe at some point I'll load up Fortress Craft Evolve solo, or hopefully multiplayer with just some other people that understand it, or, like, are willing to understand it alongside me, and we'd be able to, like, puzzle it out ourselves. Okay, that's still got some. That's still got some. This one's out. I'm gonna just plug this in. That'll lessen the load a little bit. We've got to get one constructor going. Two construct. Shoot. Okay, so we want to get iron plates. We want to get reinforced iron plates, which requires screws. Screws require rods. I have rods. I have many rods. Avlon rod. Many rod. That didn't even make sense. You could always look at other streamers' guide on how to play too, I guess. True, but not really the sort of thing that I'm, like, super passionate about. I don't actually like watching other people on how to do stuff. If I'm having trouble figuring something out and I have to watch another channel, honestly, that would mean that the game is piss poor at actually explaining things, which I would say is probably quite true. Wonder, will you do another run of Portal 2? At some point. Like, time? Time is hard. It's rough. I don't have enough time for anything. Okay, so we only actually need 6 of these. So I'm going overkill. We're going to need to make a lot of screws. I'll make 9 just in case. Because ideally I'd like to actually have one of the iron... Oops, that's not it. Let's see, where do I want to put this thing? I'm not sure why they are complaining. What's up here? What's wrong with you? No, you're going. Oh. That's the issue. None of these are actually configured for iron. That's my fault. Let's see, have I played Ori yet? No. Shell wasn't feeling well, so we gotta, either it's gonna happen tonight or it's gonna happen tomorrow, because I'm not gonna play that without her. Because that would be insanely rude. Question is, yeah, why don't we just have a 3rd tier already? I'm assuming I have some amount of stuff. Really? Really? Damn it. I guess it's fine. Oh, that's the issue. That's there. I guess I didn't really organize this whole thing particularly well for around the idea of seriously? I bet if I tear this up, we can rebuild around it, no problem. Okay, organization, no. Logistics, conveyor lift. Yep, thought so. Whoops. What the fudge? Is it rotating? So that you can rotate them. Okay, I was actually really curious about that. Well, in that case, this whole thing's ugly and I can fix it. So that's what I should do. And my inventory is super full. Iron plates. Right. Uh-oh. Okay, let's go dump some of this stuff off. I guess let's grab this real quick. Just shove this into my face. And then we want to store that, slugs, flowers. Mainly mainly flowers is the biggest issue, because I have, like, 0 use for flowers. Oh, I'll have to move these things around. Let's see, more flowers, more wood, carapace, and that thing. Alright, that should be more space. But yeah, sounds like rather unintuitive gameplay if you have to watch somebody else play something to figure out how to play the game. Yep. Part of the other reason why I haven't played, is it From the Depths? The, like, it's like sort of a strategy game, sort of like a, you build a thing and it, I don't even know how to describe it. But you're just making, like... You're just making, like, giant sea ship, like, warships and some other things. Okay, that should work? I think that's too high, though. Is this all just not going to my inventory at this point? I have no idea, actually. Alright, let's try this again. Do we think that's the right clearance? That should be. That looks right. There we go. And if it's not, we can come back and fix it, but give me a little bit more space, maybe? Or it won't. This is all a wasted venture. One way or another, looks a little neater. A little neater. And that's what matters. So, what do we got up here? Obviously gotta hook these back up. I guess I should probably have inputted into the leftmost one, but whatever. Okay, let's see. So now that we've done this, we can actually have the ramps going up. I will admit, this is a valid complaint about Satisfactory, which is... It's kind of hard to navigate some of the UI. Let's see. Now, is this only 3 up? Yeah, it's only 3 up. There's a lot of placement issues that I run into in this game specifically, where it's just like, oh, okay, this is just awkward. We'll have to go downstairs and widen the base at some point. Not a high priority. Where did that even go? Why is... No. Well, alright. How do I... Yeah, let's keep going a little bit longer. Oh, that didn't actually break my legs. Hey! Lucky. And we have plenty of concrete to go around. At some point, I'm probably going to need to up that a little bit more, but still. Water went full Fortnite. Hey, look. This is on Epic Games. It's appropriate. It's like the closest you'll ever see me to actually playing Fortnite ever again. I mean, okay, if they ever did like some crazy overhaul of the Save the World mode, maybe I'd take a look at it, but I sincerely doubt they're actually going to go to that extreme ever. Yeah, I guess that probably hooks up. This is messy. I want original Fortnite updated. I'm honestly shocked that they haven't. Like, I feel like the Battle Royale mode is the kind of thing that will just die on the vine eventually. Like, it'll probably stay super popular for a while, but trying to make, like, a proper sandbox mode feels like it would be better? Because, like, I doubt they'd be able to supplant Minecraft necessarily, but they could get close, considering the pre-built audience and whatnot, and just like convert people over. But I guess it's just not worth it. Okay, is that good? Looks like that's good. That's better. Okay, so far so good. What conversation did I join into? I don't know. I am mildly always disappointed that Fortnite wasn't better than it was. I had high expectations for that game, and they were not met. They weren't even... It wasn't even close. Let's see. What other games were just, like, kind of travesties in their own right? Not many. I mean, there's a number of games that were, like, disappointing, but it's few that just, like, absolutely went against what they were supposed to be. Okay, so we want to make biomass out of leaves, 120%. Yep, that should be good. And then we want to make solid biofuel. There we go. Moonlighter. Yeah, Moonlighter is up there. I really, really wanted to like Moonlighter. And it was very much not the game that I wanted it to be when it came out. Sucks a little bit, because, like, I love the developers. Like, I've met them before. They do good stuff. Okay, so that's not gonna fly. I'm pretty sure I can't crawl between there. Let's see. Do I wanna? Yeah. Just tear that up a bit. Okay, are you good? Yep, looks like it's good. Perfect! So Halo was originally meant to be an RTS, and there was the Halo RTS release. Huh, well, I would never say that I was just disappointed with how Halo turned out, though. I am consistently really happy with how the Halo series, at least initially, went. It might not have actually, you know, kept that momentum into something greater, but, like, it was still pretty good for the time. Or are these not connected? That's the deal. Okay, production, constructor. There we go. That's good stuff. So we're going to need a lot of iron rods, aren't we? I think what I'm going to do... let's see. We might honestly want to just... I'm just going to get rid of this one. We're going to have 3 plates and then 2 of these just rolling iron rods. Which means I've got to go make some more reinforced plates. Because, yeah, we're going to need a lot of screws. And we might honestly have to expand this whole thing onto a higher platform, but we'll leave that for later. Let's see, reinforced iron plates, which requires... Yeah, holy shit. Ouch. Yeah, hopefully, after 343 is done turning MCC into a PC game, they'll actually go back to working on new Halo games and hopefully make a good one. I don't know. Either that or it just stays as this kind of weird cultural artifact of a thing that was really good at the time, and then that was the end of it. See, Reach was the best. Interestingly enough, I actually found myself a little disappointed in Reach when I replayed it with Shell. It was, on one hand, it had some of the best notes of the series. On the other hand, it felt short. I don't even know if short's necessarily the right word. Like, it felt like there was less to it for whatever reason, and I'm not sure why. Like, the maps felt really small or something like that. All games feel too short nowadays. Maybe. Maybe since I didn't have the nostalgia goggles firmly attached, it was one of those where I was just like, oh man, it's Halo. And then I was like, okay, now we're done. Really? I guess I've just got to sit down and play Halo Combat Evolved. Because I know that came out on PC recently as well. And I kind of skipped out on that one because busy.